Hello, sweet souls. It's DTO in the flow, wanting you to know that this is a 5Q podcast where we have 5 extraordinary questions to guide us through the pathway of visionary leaders, healers, and super cool people on planet Earth. And we have a superhero today that started off once upon a time. Here he is. And the journey unfolds. So without further ado, I will bring on Thomas Waterman. How are you?
Hey, brother. Honored to be here, man.
Pleasure. And before we move into the 5Q flow, I want to make sure everyone is with an open-hearted invitation. Welcome to join Sacred City Equinox. This will be a moment for community to come together. I'm flying in from Costa Rica, and this will be Saturday, September 27th. I feel like throwing the promo reel because, there's some vibe. Maybe there's a musician that's going to be there. Last I checked.
Hit him with it.
With each courageous choice, seeds were planted. And now it's time to celebrate the harvest. Welcome to Sacred City Equinox. Join us on Saturday, September 27th, and rejoice in the magic created from this courageously authentic journey. There's a limited amount of tickets available, so click the link in our bio now. See you at Equinox.
Woo!
Yes.
Yes. Let's go.
Ring the bell here. All right. Once upon a time, all of us know the story. There was a superhero. And we all want to know, what is the origin story of our guest today? Thomas.
Yes.
How did it all begin?
I would say, I think about what I've come back to again and again in this life. And I call it Space Camp Thomas. And in middle school, there was an era where I was radically obsessed with space and NASA, and I wanted to be the commander on the first mission to Mars. And I would watch the NASA.gov live stream of the rovers on Mars, and I was just obsessed. And I had a mission, I had purpose. I knew what I wanted. I was prioritizing, focusing on this, tuning my energy toward I was going to become a aerospace engineer. I was going to go to this school. I was going to be an astronaut. I was getting cool spiky hair. That's all. That's like 5th grade, I think. So it was right around that era, actually. And then I found more of social and parties and social status and alcohol and promiscuity and high school and college. And it was fun. It was epic. I learned a lot. It's my business partner, Alex. I learned a lot about people and communication and community and how things work and the intertwinings of people and in relating and how we get things done as human beings together, whether that was in school projects or on my soccer team, or in my fraternity in college or in student government or whatever it was. I learned a lot, and I'm grateful for that era because I learned about people. I learned about myself. I learned about human dynamics and what drive the human beings. And at the same time, I realized I wanted to get back to Space Camp Thomas. I wanted to get back to that middle school version of myself that was focused and on purpose and not really doing things that were distracting from that. So at 24, I let go of alcohol. I let go of drugs. I let go of a lot of those things. And I quit my job and I just focused on if I was going to be all in on purpose every single day, what would my life look like? I joined a co-working space. I joined a business accelerator. I did mission-driven business, and that really is the origin. That's me and my fraternity with one of my mentors. But what would my life be like if I went all in on what feels true? And every single time I found a distraction and it revealed itself, what would happen if I let that go and focused more on what I truly prefer, what I truly value deep down? So that's been my life since 24, is an experiment of what happens if I continually get closer and closer to focusing on what I truly value, what I truly prefer, what I truly feel matters to me in some capacity. And that's always changing. I'm always getting clearer and clearer on that. And sometimes I get off track, and that's okay because I'm human and it's fun. But I would say that's the origin story, is getting back to being the commander on my own spaceship, just like I always wanted to be in middle school. And maybe I'm not going to Mars because I have fallen in love with Earth a lot more these days. So maybe I'm not going to Mars, but maybe I'm captaining a ship, um, to the sacred city. So that's what I got for you, DTO.
I appreciate it. Oh my gosh. And there's so many more awesome visuals to share.
Yep. That was a big moment. That's when I left my life in Orlando and traveled to Bali and had like huge spiritual awakenings and fell in love with kirtan and fell in love with ecstatic dance and breath work and cacao and even deeper, path of like learning about myself and connecting with nature and all that magical stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Camp Kirtan, one of our first like bigger retreats, just inviting people to connect with who they truly are and express that authentically in nature. That was a magical moment and a big next step for us, like an expansion step. Like, okay, this is bigger. So that was beautiful.
Extraordinary. Yeah. So the theme here is vision. And when we were kids, we watched a lot of television. But if we remove the telly, as the Brits would say, turn off the telly, and we just focus on the vision. So where is it within you? Was it a aha moment? Was it inner wisdom that came through? At what point did you have just like that awe feeling to go into space? Right? That's visionary conversation.
Yeah.
There's these two-legged animals on planet Earth, living organisms, or like, we want to catapult up there. So, but when you have the vision, it doesn't mean that you've rolled up your sleeves yet. You haven't done, chop wood, carry water. So what has that path been like for you? And when did you have that vision?
Well, I think the vision for me it's continued to like come back home to my actual body, mind, and spirit. I think I was very focused on like this outward vision of like, I'm gonna go travel farther than anyone's traveled before, and we're gonna pioneer into the unknown. And I think a lot of that was just really wanting to not settle for what everyone was saying how things ought to be. And I was just very dead set on like more things are possible than what's being presented. I think that's what my like youthful kid was wanting to do. I'm like, we can do it. We can come together and do that. And I think over the years, my vision has become more about how do I want to feel in my moment to moment reality, and what do I want what's my preferred environment in my moment to moment reality. So the vision of Sacred City, for example, it really is a reflection of a vision of what I feel is an exciting, inspirational, meaningful life. And that vision is a city where daily life feels magical. And that's for every single individual. Like, I want to walk around, I want to wake up with that spark of possibility in the air. I want to walk around and feel excited with, making eye contact with people. And maybe I'm at the coffee shop and I'm co-creating things and I'm hanging out with people and we're having deep discussions and we're doing magical things. We're singing, we're dancing in the streets. Like, I get excited at the idea of living in a city that feels magical, where there's meaning in every moment, possibility around every corner, and that's lights me the heck up. So I think for me, yeah, it's really just been a journey of going from I got to go do this thing and go achieve this thing and go, millions of miles away, to I really just want to experience a meaningful existence, and that feels like a good time. It feels like it's worth it. I think another part of this is realizing I was in a Chipotle once and I was like mad because there was a huge line and I was frustrated at that huge line. And I remember like projecting that frustration on the people in the line and like judging them and finding reasons why I'm better than them in some capacity. And it was just this whole like ego hilarious thing. It was very precious and very human. And in an instant, I saw the whole place totally empty. And I began to get very sad. And I was grieving at the idea of there just being no one in the Chipotle, there being no one on planet Earth. And I'm like, how would I feel if there was never a line, meaning that I'm the only person on the planet? And I got very sad. And in that moment, I think it finally hit me that like not only do I want to experience a magical like daily life, but I also want to do it with other people. That I'd rather deal with the complexity, the tension, the uncertainty, all the messiness at times of humans trying to relate on the same planet. I'd rather deal with that and be with other people than be alone on the planet. Like I'd rather deal with it. So a big part of even in the, I would say the soil of Sacred City, the foundation of everything I do is a recognition that I'm trying to figure out how to relate with people in a way that feels awesome for them and awesome for me. I'm on a mission to relate in a way that feels fun and effective because I'd rather do things with people than alone. That's what I got for you, DTO.
You are not alone. And
Not alone.
it's wonderful because as I've gone through some of your images that you've shared, it feels this interconnection to humanity.
Yeah, these my Bali homies.
Nice. Eat, pray, love.
Yes. My TEDx Orlando.
Perfect silly time.
Friends.
I want to jump right into that. Okay. Path of the vision. And I want to, credible, right? And I want to jump into question 3 here because I think we can frame it where there's a creative process to go through to be able to be on a TED Talk stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's beyond the preparation to do the share of your journey, there's the actual living experience of it, right? And so there's a creative process that we've been told when we were little kids, right? Get 8 hours of sleep, drink water, self-care practices. You know, we'll chalk it up as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's like baseline waking up as a human for us to achieve homeostasis. So there's a creative process because as your creativity is flowing, how do you get going?
These days, it's ceremony. And this is something a former romantic partner, now one of my absolute best friends, she shared with me and opened me up to the world of the ethereal and to the world of the sacred, the world of like depth and presence and the significant of just like being still in a room, looking out of a window and what can emerge in that stillness. I didn't really get that. You know, I was like, we need a whiteboard. Like, what do you mean? We need markers. We need to be brainstorming. And she would invite me into the boundlessness and the depth of stillness in ceremony and specifically with tea. And it rocked my world. It changed my life. And now most things I do emerge from tea ceremony and just sitting there for a couple hours and drinking tea and being with a journal and being with a window and being with some like cool DTO ceremony music in the background. So I think that's a huge piece is where is it emerging from and the stillness and the sacred has been huge for me as a place where the things that feel true and elegant and simple and worth working on have emerged. And then the second piece is more of like the heady side of it, kind of more the mental, maybe the more masculine, is having a clear vision, purpose, and values. And so like for me, the creative process is easy a lot of the times because I'm not just making things up. I'm not just piecing things together. I'm asking the question, if this is our vision and like, so the ideal reality that we're moving toward, and this is our purpose, meaning what's the way that we contribute to this group of people who are walking in that direction? How do we support this community? It's kind of how I look at business. Is like we're walking on this journey. We're on an epic journey together, um, and we're moving toward the vision. And how do I support all of us on this journey? Whether it's me going first, me giving pep talks, me doing check-ins, me offering tools and products and experiences and events to help support and shepherd this community on this journey. I'm asking that question. What else can we offer to support that journey? And so I don't add a lot of stuff. I don't add a lot of random stuff. Everything makes sense. Everything's dialed in. Everything's connected to what is supporting this group of people as we walk along this journey. So it makes it really easy to like not add too much or not too little, and always be adding just enough of that infrastructure to support the next leg of that journey.
Yes, it's a incredible behind the scenes in all of this, and tea ceremony.
Yep.
It's incredible, right? Because you're actually in this day and age with multi distractions at any given moment, just to have a sacred city moment of tea. Like, oh, I get to pause. I get to like, whoop, just pump the brakes a little bit, and not, as you said, the list, the to-dos, the gotta go, gotta caffeinate, gotta, crush the competition, so it's really amazing that you have that opportunity to allow and to then journal, right? The flow state. And that's really what this question above is, the creative process, how to achieve flow state. There's been books about it, there's podcasts, and we know this. I know it when I'm in the DT flow, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. We're digging it. Boom. And there's absolutely, to me, all these beautiful steps in your journey, as you're saying, being in connection, speaking in front of audiences, and being able to connect.
Humans. I'm a fan.
And here's a great image I want to share.
Yep, business partner Alex. This is an emergence moment. More on the whiteboard side of things, though.
The core values, and it's great to declare that, right? We write it down, and we
good.
Make it happen. And you got to go back to basics, right? Back to nature. That's
it. That was the water temple. That was just like surrendering to the elements and to something bigger, and that is so beautiful.
Extraordinary. So good. So the response. So we are on this visionary pathway. We figure at some point how we shift the ingredients to create a flow state. And then at some point we get to hear or observe and at times feel what impact can be created when there's community that will respond, whether it's this day and age, a DM, someone adds to their story, the promo video for an Equinox event or any Sacred City experience. You can have qualitative results, right, through the heart, or then the quantitative. If the community's growing, there's people desiring fellow humans to be in connection and community. So how has that been for you?
I think what immediately comes up is just feeling more and more. I think the people who are feeling called to Sacred City and our events are like really here for authenticity. Like they're really here for it. Like they're committed to being themselves. They're committed to honoring others in like celebrating them for being themselves. And it's like, we're just a bunch of geeks. We're just like geeking out on this. I imagine it's like a bunch of video gamers were super into one game. This is like a bunch of people who are like really into the game of courageous authenticity. Like, and the courage is such a huge element, because to me, it helps cross those edges, like cross those thresholds, and continue the liberation journey, continue the wholeness journey, continue the authenticity journey again and again and again, just beyond the edge, just beyond the discomfort, just beyond the unknown. So I love, all of our events. I'm like, this is an opportunity to go a little deeper, to go a little farther than you've gone before. Like, what starts today for you that maybe it's farther or more than you've ever done before in terms of your journey home to yourself. So I would say just what I'm noticing is just the level of resonance with everyone who comes is it's just so potent. Yeah. And in terms of the response, I think I get a lot of people saying that it's refreshing that there's a space that's like totally sober, like so drug, alcohol, cannabis, and psychedelic free. And I always say I'm not necessarily recommending that as like the best lifestyle. It's just a container where we can all be on the same page and that feels good. So I get a lot of like positive feedback from just appreciating that there's a container that's like really committed to honoring that boundary. And then a place for people to like be able to express themselves, like, wow, I felt so safe, like I felt like I wasn't being judged, or I didn't need to worry about anything. And I love that because like as a recovering frat boy, at times in my fraternity there was times when I was scared to just be goofy or be silly or be weird or be myself because I thought people were going to say that's not cool, like shut up, like you're stupid. And there was just times where that happened and it was scary and a bit traumatic. So to have a space where it's like we're radically committed to accepting you as you are, is very refreshing for me, and I've heard for others really appreciate that too.
And when else in human history have we deserved to have peace, safety, and presence?
I'm into it. Yeah, I prefer it for sure. Like, and all this stuff is like something too. Is just maybe this is the final words piece. Is like I don't think any of this stuff is right. I don't think any of it is superior. I don't think any of it is like. I don't think I have the answer at all. I think I'm just figuring things out along the way, and this stuff just like it's more fun. It tends to be more fun for me, more effective for me, more meaningful for me, less suffering. Like a lot of what I create is focused on how can I have less suffering and more meaning and fulfillment and joy in my life, and how can I experience that with more people. So that's been really life changing. Of the journey of I used to be more like righteous and impact. Like I know what the world needs, and I want to change the world, and I have the ideas that people need, and then I imagine like if I applied my ideas to 8 billion people, am I sure everyone's going to feel better off? And that answer for me is it just no, 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 no. I have no idea. I'm barely figuring things out for myself. So that's been huge for me, is just letting go of the idea that I know what anyone else needs to do, or I think I have any idea if someone should or should not do something, or if what they're doing is right or wrong or whatever. I have no clue. And I call it the bow in humility. And it's been such a relief just to focus on what are my values? What do I prefer? What do I want to focus on? And create stuff from there and invite people to be a part of it. And if someone doesn't want to be a part of it, or they have other values, or they have other focuses, honoring them unconditionally and celebrating their creation, celebrating their artwork, at the same time focusing on mine, and the people who want to be a part of that. So that has just been so relieving. And also so much more effective. I feel like I'm able to get a lot more done just focusing on what's in my control and what I want to put my energy toward. So that's really been a huge factor in my life shifting over the years.
I love that. When I was in middle school, I remember the saying, act locally, think globally. And it feels really true with your reflection of how you've learned to, we're all making our way through the universe, how we are, and it's you in verse, right? It's within, the journey's within. And so when you inverse any blame, shame, or as you said, what happened at the Chipotle, and had a breakdown of like, why are people not doing exactly what my brain wants them to do? But when you went to the heart, it was like, oh, I'm present in this reality. Okay.
Yep. I call it focusing on just participating, contribution over control. And that's just changed my life because I used to try to control everything. I'm still seeing places where I'm holding on and trying to get my environment to be a certain way. And I'm like, that is I feel like a less efficient use of my time than just creating what I actually desire. So it's the old be the change you want to see in the world, DTO.
Yes, magnify, call it
Yeah,
in.
it's been helpful. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it's been great for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've witnessed from what you've shared of people coming together. And I do want to bring in the piece of your music and kirtan and being able to play in front of people, and how cool just to be able to navigate purpose sphere. That's where we're heading.
The purpose sphere. Yeah, that was the business. We're inviting people to get clear on their vision, purpose, and values.
Love it.
And, like, orient their life from that place.
Perfect. See, that dreamer of going to space, it's happening, and because we're in inner and outer space, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you so much, and I want to make sure people see the invitation in front of them, which is to come and be in community September 27th. And this is a Sacred City event, my very first time a part of this, and I will be offering the piece of ecstatic movements, and I will also be the steward of the sonic shavasana.
It's gonna be epic, DTO. I'm super stoked for you to bring your gifts, man, and like, yeah, bring all the elements that you've been so devoted to for so long, and just combining with our community, I feel like is gonna be fantastic. So.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of a couple of clips you shared of this kind of energy. That's
exactly.
it right there.
That was after one of our bigger retreats, and yeah, incredible.
Amazing. So Instagram, Sacred City, go ahead and invite people in.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a community where we invite you to remember who you are, embody who you are, embrace who you are, really self-awareness, self-expression, self-love, and brick by brick, with each courageous choice to be ourselves and to offer that as a gift, we can build a magical city. So come on down.
All right, bring it in, we're ringing it in, and boom. Appreciate you, and I am so grateful that I get to see you in a couple weeks, and that anyone that gets to watch this can recognize the reflection that Thomas is of his journey of the big roller coaster of all of it, from the frat boy avatar, and then the shifting into the tea party connoisseur. Love it.
Yeah, I was the emotional frat boy though, so I was always yearning for that meaning. So.
Yeah, and I love, authenticity just is so pure, and I love how we get to understand the journey and the vision. And because this began in 2020, it's truly a new earth opportunity for anyone and everyone. So it's all happening. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Join us, and appreciate you, Thomas.
Likewise, brother.
With each courageous choice, seeds were planted. And now it's time to celebrate the harvest. Welcome to Sacred City, Equinox. Join us on Saturday, September 27th, and rejoice in the magic created from this courageously authentic journey. There's a limited amount of tickets available, so click the link in our bio now. See you at Equinox.